Hi, this is Jane Hatch. I am a shamanic practitioner and a healer and a Reiki master. And for this particular video, I'm also going to include that I'm a survivor of the Secret Space program and MK Ultra, because some of the information I'm going to share will be applicable to those people as well. So I'm going to talk about power animals today. I was inspired with an interview I did with Krista Campbell. We talked a little bit about power animals, but we barely touched on the subject. And I also realized I got to start making more videos. And I wasn't sure how I was going to do these series of shamanism videos, but I said, I think I will just do them. I'll just start. So here I am. And I'm not going to go into any much more than power animals in this particular video, because shamanism is a huge subject. I could go into the history, I could go into techniques, I could go into spirit guides and middle world and upper world and lower world, and lots of other things. I believe I was born a shaman, in the sense, I think mostly all humans are, but we just sort of it's atrophied because nobody supports it, nobody around us. You know, when we're growing up, teachers, religious leaders, parents will subjugate that information and repress it and say you're crazy. You didn't see, you know, a little fox walking beside you. You know, if you're 7 or 8 years old, you know, they'll tell you that you did not see that. And so it's sort of repressed, and also politically throughout the centuries, and religious and military factors, they all want to repress and suppress it, because it's very empowering to have shamanic knowledge. And it's very natural, and it's free, and it's everywhere. If you're on the earth and you're human, you have access to shamanic powers and power animals, and, you know, the love of Gaia and the love of all the spirits of the trees and the flowers and the animals. And so I'm going to just cover power animals, which is a term that you often hear associated with shamans, or curanderos, or medicine men, huna. They're called huna in Hawaii. In the Aboriginal people, what is their name? Not the dog men, but they're very connected to Pleiades. It's the Aboriginals have their own name for shamans. The word shaman is Siberian, and it means one who can see in the dark. And I will say that historically, I did a master's thesis on shamanism. That didn't teach me to be a shaman, but it did give me insight into sort of a literary review of shamanism. And there was shamans at almost every point on the earth at one time or another. And we're all connected. We all have these roots. It's part of being human, is to be able to exercise these skills that seem way out there, but they're not. Like, drugs open you to that part, but it's there. It's yours. It's not the acid. It's not whatever. It's not even the ayahuasca to a degree. I never use any kind of substance. I never use any kind of sacred herb, because I am so right brain already that I don't need anything else to put me in a shamanic state of consciousness, other than the drumming, rattle, singing, dancing. Those are the 4 or 5. There's 4 or 5 major ways shamans use to achieve a theta state of mind. And that's different from the beta. I'm in beta right now. I'm conscious. Theta will put me in touch with the shamanic state of consciousness, which we all have. And I do it generally through a drum beat. Sometimes I don't have to do anything anymore. I close my eyes and I'm in that state of consciousness. So, yeah, so power animals. Okay. If you're born on the earth and you're human, you're going to be born with a power animal. It's a gift from Mother Earth. It's not shamanism is not a religion. It's a gift from Mother Earth to empower us, protect us, heal us. So you are born with a little power animal, like a little fox, a baby deer, a little bear. And I personally believe that's where all stuffed animals came from. Is, they say there's nothing new under the sun. It's just, it's duplicating itself. Like somebody picked up on that and started, why don't we just make little stuffed animals for children? And they were picking up on a universal truth and a universal consciousness, which is that we are surrounded when we're born, or we have access to power animals, and every human is supposed to be born with a power animal. Like in SSP, that's a whole different world. I'm not sure if, and I'm talking about secret space program, if you were an abductee or my lab, what actually happens. I don't think they probably have knowledge of Mother Earth and how she wants to protect us. And, they may eliminate that too in some capacity, so that you don't necessarily, you're not necessarily born with that power. But in a general sense, most people, humans, are born, and when you're born, you have a power animal. It's not a religious choice, or it's you can be. Shamans come from all different religions. You can be Christian or Buddhist or pagan or Muslim, whatever. You can be a shaman, and that, because shamanism is like spiritual surgery. It's like, and it's a gift from Mother Earth. So it's not a religion, and it's not anti-religion either. But your religion may determine what spirit guides you have, but they won't necessarily determine what power animals you have. Maybe your location won't. So you're born with and it's like a little, like a baby, deer, a baby panda, a baby everything. So, and it grows with you, and then it changes when you're an adult. And oftentimes it'll either reflect your skill, if you're feminine and you're always working in hidden and mysterious themes in life, you might have jaguar. If you like to, and you also, the program will reflect your abilities and your skills. If you're very bullish and bulldog and a lot of male, you might have a bull as a power animal, because it will enhance your normal power, and or as you progress through life and you may be asking for help, spiritually or meditating, you may get a power animal that reflects your need that you're expressing, and they have in some capacity a way to guide you to that healing and that medicine and that knowledge. So you go from a baby power animal, it's around you, and kids will always, often say, oh mom, I saw this little moose or a little deer and they followed me into the house, and you're like, yes, sure, yeah, whatever. But it's true, it's there, and they still have their third eye open so they can see it until parents shut it down, or school, the military. The whole world right now is set up to crush your spirituality, to crush your independent connection to your higher self, and the spirits around us, the good spirits I'm talking about. All our systems right now, and they're especially right now after the introduction of MK Ultra and Operation Paperclip, which is a mind control event. They want you in your mind, because if you're in your soul and your spirit, you're going to be connected to these powers. But if you get in your mind, you disconnect, and they can control you more. So every system right now is set up to crush shamanism, and throughout history they have crushed shamans. I mean, one of the only legends we have left is Native American, and probably because they were in the last century. They crushed the Hunans, the Russian shamans. German tribes, forget it. They were annihilated, the tribal people of Germany, and I'm talking about pre-World War II and pre-World War One. There was a German culture which was completely shamanic and tribal, and that was the aristocracy. They were completely crushed. Well, that's not true. I think they were oppressed, repressed, and then they made the choice, apparently, according to SSP survivors, to go to Antarctica, where they were actually thrived, and the Nazis were the ones that came to America, unfortunately, with Operation Paperclip. But Yes, so Germany, Australia, Africa, China, Korea, South America, anywhere you go in the world, there were shamans, and they all had kind of a different name, but it was all about seeing. And the word shaman is from Siberia, like I said, and it means one who can see beyond the veil, or who can see into the darkness, and beyond the veil. So not just as your individual child having their spirituality, or whatever you want to call it, their natural connection to Mother Earth is what I would call it, because they're all gifts from Mother Earth, the power animals, and the spirits of flowers that heal, and trees and rivers, and those are gifts from Mother Earth. So it's not like anti-Christ by any means. You can be a Christian and be a shaman. Yeah, that's probably, maybe if I had a religion, that would be Christian, maybe, I guess. I feel like I have a strong connection to Jesus Christ, but I honestly feel like he's more like a brother. I have a brotherly affection and love and respect. I don't know what happened. For Christ, for Jesus Christ. And I have read, of course, a lot of his teachings, but not from the Bible. Through the Gnostic Gospels, because I think a lot of his original teachings were corrupted. So, for better or for worse, I haven't spent a lot of time reading the Bible, but I have read the Gnostic Gospels and the true teachings of Christ. But they are not separate at all. You can be a shaman and be a Christian. You can be a shaman and be a Buddhist. You can be a shaman and be a pagan, but you can be whatever you want and still have the love connection to Mother Earth, which is how I define my type of shamanism. It's a love connection to Mother Earth. So back to power animals. Yes, the little girl, little boy comes in, and my daughter did. Of course, I said, yeah, that's true. You are seeing a little wolf, and he's with you, and he'll protect you, and he'll be with you, and until you go on to another power animal. But most kids, they don't necessarily have that. So your first connection with that power from Mother Earth is usually subdued, or if not crushed by, again, as I say, a parent, school, politics, you name it. But so if you go on, and this is another thing. Yes, we do always have, or we should always have, power animals from Mother Earth around us. But if you get too far from your core power, meaning your core truth, say you got into drugs or alcohol, or even like an abusive relationship, an abusive job, they will wander off, because you're basically saying no to power. You're saying no to personal power, and they can wander off. Well, unless you have knowledge of calling them back, they'll keep wandering off until you may not have any power left in that regard. I mean, if you have a strong connection to God or Christ, or whatever your higher self, that may be enough. But it's like eliminating your friends on the earth. So it's not a replacement for God or Christ. It's just like, why would you eliminate all your friends on earth and say, oh, I don't need any friends, I have God? That's sort of like power animals, exponentially more power though. So they will be there unless you eliminate them through stepping completely away from your power. So, which most people have done in our culture. Unfortunately, we live in a very violent planet right now, especially for women. It's actually a dangerous planet for women. Men are becoming more and more violent, through movies and TV and mind control and psyops. And it's purposely done. There's a down dumbing. They want women to marry violent men and the children to be traumatized. And they become more and more slave class. and less intellectual, because Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if your basic needs are not met, you tend to have soul loss and shatter, and then you're going to marry abusive. So that's another whole video. But all things connect, it seems like. So yeah, most people disconnect from their earth power, and if you're not on the earth a lot, that will take away from it. If you're not in your shaman center, just in your gut instinct is another way to connect with power animals. If you're not meditating, so, and then what happens is you don't have as much protection. So if you have a total power animal loss, you're probably going to be more susceptible to disease, accidents, misfortune, anything that goes along with your energy field not being protected and powerful. And here again, I am talking about normal humans, you know, the SSP people. That's really tricky. I mean, I was secret space program abductee, my lab. I was abducted by the military, combination of military, I believe, Raytheon and the U.S. Navy. And I don't think you have your power animals when you're abducted. And maybe that's why they need to get you off the earth and away from the earth and any kind of power you can get from it. That's why they're getting us into smart cities now. One of the reasons, because we have so much power when we're in the lap of Mother Earth, you know, and we're near her rivers and her flowers and her, you know, everything she provides. So I have, you know, I have to really look into that. What does happen to a secret space program victim when they're abducted? You think our power would come with us, but I'm wondering if it's a belief system before we even come to Earth that we don't deserve power. But that's another video again. So I'm trying to stay on power animals. So what exactly is a power animal? So a power animal lives in a vibrational space that is traditionally called lower world, and it's not a location as far as hierarchical. It's a vibration, and it's the dream space of Mother Earth, and they represent the collective consciousness of their species. So say that you have a horse as your power animal. So that horse, that power animal horse, which is in spirit form, so that it can come into your energy field and protect your energy field, would be independence, freedom, strength, power, nobility would be some of the words that would come to my mind first. So if you had a strong connection with force, those might be some of the qualities they'd be trying to give you. You know, and Christy mentioned today, you know, what if you have an ant or you have, you know, an opossum or a squirrel as your power animal? Well, that means you have a lesson to learn from ants, or opossum or squirrel, and it doesn't mean you're not going to have eagle, you know, next week or next month, or jaguar or lion. They all have a different so-called medicine, you know, a totem. Who's your Native Americans use the word totem animal. I use power animal. I had teachers all up and down the East Coast and then Santa Fe and Colorado. I never had a Native teacher. I'm not sure why, but I had all women, sort of like me, for whatever reason. But I think it turned out the best for me, because when I was learning, you know, in my era, there weren't a lot of female teachers in the Native American tradition. There had been a lot of Native American cultures are matriarchal, but they had died out and became patriarchal. And I didn't really want to learn from men. I you know, to be perfectly honest, I had heard things from Native American women, like right there, no, right there, medicine eagle. you know, the Native American men were not necessarily treating, especially the white women that came to them for instruction very well. Became, well, you can guess what it became with them. So anyway, I had all women sort of like myself as my teachers, including Sandra Ingerman and Allie Hilton and Dr. Ian Faith. So some of them actually were shamans who had been trained by traditional shamans in this country and other countries who were teaching me. So back to power animals, trying to stay on the subject. So yeah, if you had like squirrel, then you need to know how to organize and prepare. Squirrel would be like preparing for the future, storing away nuts or so. If you go out, you know, and you see like a squirrel, and it's like not every single squirrel in the world is a sign or a symbol. But if you see one and it's like a click you feel in your solar plexus. It's like zoning in on it, almost becomes like a familiar. Like it's zoning in on you, it has a message, and then you walk another, you know, half mile, whatever, you see another one, and then you see another one, and they're all sort of facing you. You have to use your intuition too. So and then you're like I wonder, and then you notice what they're doing, and then you come home and you might, you know, open a book and this picture of the squirrels here. So if you see something like that, generally it's 4 times. That particular power animal has a message for you. And you can either look it up or you can go, if you meditate, you can go into meditation. So those are power animals that will crop up when you have put an intention out in the world. You need an answer, you need direction, you need guidance. And again, it does not replace, you know, a higher self, you know, a deity, like a God, you know, God, or some spiritual leader, or your ancestors, or your neighbor, or your wife. It's just one more. It's like Mother Earth is giving you. This is about coming from Gaia to help you. She is reaching out through her beings on Earth. So a squirrel could be absolutely perfect for you. You could have eagle vision already. Like I have a lot of eagle vision. Like I can see far. I can see from a very high perspective. And look, but you know, I don't have very good squirrel medicine or ant medicine. I'm not very organized and I don't prepare. So for me, those would be good teachers for me. In general, I'm not meticulous on the physical. You know, I have a lot of issues being grounded. So I love, you know, when I connect with eagle in the spirit world, it's my nature to fly, you know, and that goes back to SSP2, Secret Space Program, where I feel like I was mind fractured and shattered, mind shattered, and one of my alters was taught to navigate as young as 4 years old in some, I don't know if they were German ships or not. And again, I'm including this. This is not just for everybody. You know, if you've tuned into this because you're just interested in shamanism, you don't know anything about the Secret Space Program, I'm just telling you this. I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to survivors of the Secret Space Program. So now I lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about the Secret Space Program, empower animals, I hope. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going back. All right, so buffalo behind me is, especially white buffalo, is sacred. White buffalo represents white buffalo calf woman, who is sacred to the Lakota Sioux. I believe I was a Lakota Sioux medicine man in another lifetime, so I have a strong connection with her and those people. And white buffalo calf woman came to the Lakota people to try to teach them to respect the divine feminine. And she appeared as a beautiful young maiden, and 2 young warriors were out hunting and they saw her and they assaulted her and they turned to snakes that was just one of her teachings. Like, if we continue to disrespect the divine feminine, our culture will turn to snakes, which it has. It is now literally, we have turned to snakes. The people in the highest level are all snakes, all of them. So we didn't learn it. I don't know if the natives learned it either, the native men. I don't want to make any big judgments. You know, I do live near native tribes, and I do hear about domestic violence, and the women are still being abducted. And, the First Nation in Canada, the women and children are still being abducted. And according to Kevin Annette, a former United, he was a former pastor who has really studied this issue. The Native chiefs are actually helping to kill and sex traffic the women and children of their tribes for profit, and they're working with the gas companies and the leaders of. I'm way off topic. Anyway, yeah. So the divine feminine. A lot of the native men did not respect the divine feminine. They're worse. They sold out to the white man. They're still selling out. They sold out during the 4 years of the big jab. I know they sold out, and to a degree, but so she came as a warning, which we did not heed. So now we have snakes, bad snakes, running the world, essentially on every single level, every single system. They are snakes, from the military to the religious to the political. So sorry, white buffalo calf woman, that's her right there. So yeah, buffalo can be a power animal, all of them, any mythological, which are not really mythological, like unicorn, mermaid, all of those, half centaur. Well, some of those are hybrids, but there's some good ones that live in lower world that will be your power animal too. They don't have to be from this earth now, but they can be. But they can also come from the mythological. So if you go into meditation and looking for your power animal, and you see, a unicorn or something that supposedly is mythological, don't discount it, because they're very powerful allies as well. So let's see, what I think I have some share stuff here. Let's see. Oh, cool. Actually, okay, so this is my Pinterest, which I haven't looked at in ages. And I have one called Power Animals. And if you want to follow me, it's just Jane Hatch. To me, there's just so much beauty, and so many of us, and that's my book. If you want to buy my book, you can email me, and I'll leave it below this video. There's just so much beauty in the power animals, and so many of us cannot trust humans that we find it a lot easier to trust animals. In fact, for part of my master's thesis, I interviewed a woman who had mind fracture from satanic ritual in her hometown. I think it was Quincy, Massachusetts, near Boston. And she had repeated satanic ritual abuse and rape from the Catholic priests in her area, and her grandfather and father. And she had used shamanism and power animals to reintegrate her 13. I think, no, it wasn't 13. Yeah, I think it was. And she had very distinctive personalities. I mean, one of them had diabetes, one of them didn't, one of them was addicted to cigarettes, the other one wasn't. And so she achieved integration by working with the shaman and power animals. And she would collect stuffed animals that all looked like her power animals. And she could trust. them, she felt. She could not. Jesus Christ had been so twisted and convoluted in satanic ceremony. She was scared about that. But her power animals gave her a lot of strength and love. You feel a lot of love. And if you don't feel love, it's not your power animal. So these are actually power animal cards. Okay, I'm not sure the name of that deck, but that's a bear. Of course, bear is mother energy and nurturing and hibernation, and there's a lot of the bear mother kind of power if you have bear as your totem. And they change, as I said, depending upon your needs and what you are putting out there into the world. If you've lost all your power animals, you probably are very accident prone. You probably have misfortune. You may be disease prone. And you see that probably applies to everybody because so many people don't even know that they have lost something. So because again, this has been completely squelched in our culture, or it has been. It's making a resurrection, but like everything got like went 10 steps backwards during the time of the shot, the last 4 years. So, and I've been kind of busy discovering my SSP roots. Here's just a few more power animals. Yeah, they can be aquatic. They can even be insect, but not all insects. There's some insects, if you're on a shamanic journey and you're doing a shamanic healing, insects can often also represent what they call a spiritual intrusion. And that's something you want to get out of your client because it's either a curse or a disease. But guides will often show me, at least, and I think other shamans, something that needs to be removed by showing me an insect. Okay, so I did a master's thesis on shamanism. Specifically, it was called, here's my, I didn't mean to go here. Can I move this far? Okay, good. This is my, by the way, this is my YouTube channel. I desperately need subscribers. I'm also a targeted individual, and they're keeping my subscribers like absolutely insanely low. And if I could get 1,000, I know some people aren't happy with 10,000, but please subscribe. I want to keep doing that. It's just at Jane Celia Hatch. So my website is where my thesis is, and a lot of other information about power animals, and here it is. All my education and my teachers, and this is just janeceliahatch.com. There's, my qualifications and my teachers, and what is a shamanic healing. It goes into how a shaman uses power animals for healing. And what else? Shamanism workshops. I have to set some up. And then let's see. I think my writing, let's see, is it a bit about Jane? Yeah, that's just about me as a person. It should be about like psychic reading. I'm just looking for my thesis. It's on here. And the title of the thesis is The Potential Healing Effects of Shamanism for Women Who have experienced trauma. I want to get more in here about SSP and soul retrieval. Here's some of my teachers. Okay, so if you're interested in more details about power animals, it's under my education in shamanism teachers. The potential healing effects of shamanism for women, and it's right here, the full thesis. It's like 90 pages. And there is a whole section on power animals and how shamans. So a big part, of course, power animals is how shamans use them. Now, if I have a client and let's say a jaguar shows up, I know I'm going to do like a depossession or something serious, like pulling, pulling out something. Let's see. Nobody shows up, I can't do it. They're saying it's too dangerous for you, too dangerous for them, or shamanism is not going to help. We can't go. So if nobody shows up on the spirit world, I don't go. I've learned to trust my power animals. They brought me to the land of the dead and all kinds of other places to retrieve souls, and I trust them. So let's see. One of my major teachers and influencers was Sandra Engelman. She's in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I don't think she's really doing classes anymore. But she was a very rare person. I learned a lot from her. I've definitely gone out on my own and doing things she couldn't even imagine. But she was one of the first shamans of the Western world to reintroduce us to soul retrieval and the techniques. She has written several books, and I credit her, and I think her contemporaries credit her with retrieving the ancient technique of soul retrieval from antiquity, where it has been banished almost, because we all know if you have your soul in you and all the pieces are returned, you become very powerful. So I don't know how long this is, and I'm sort of testing again to see if maybe this time my audio is okay. So that is part one. I'm probably going to think, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. So let's just say this is part one of power animals. And I hope this video comes out well. I've had a lot of trouble, but I got a new camera, I have new lights, and I'm experimenting with using the headphones because whatever, the other microphone is not working. So yes, janeceliahatch.com is my website. My YouTube, please, please, please subscribe at Jane Celia Hatch. I'm going to be putting out workshops, and I will be teaching shamanism. Now, I didn't teach you, I'm not teaching in these lectures, I'm explaining. Teaching is a whole different category. We're actually going into the spirit world. I just haven't decided what capacity yet, whether it's going to be online or in person. I'm also on Facebook, Jane Celia Hatch, and I need to get out there and start doing things for money, which is really hard for me. I don't like to charge, which is a problem for me, because if I'm not charging for this, that means I have to be doing something else, which God doesn't really want me to. So I need to be doing what God wants me to do, and that's this, right? Bringing souls back home into our bodies to empower humanity, to beat these new AI systems. I know about remote neural monitoring, Elon Musk. It's not good. I have remote neural monitoring. I am hooked up to a computer link, and that's part of targeting. It's not good. We need to get back in our soul, in our body, in our hearts, and that's what I'm going to teach. Okay, lots of love. Bye.